Okay. Good evening, students. How are you doing? I will be taking today question and answer sessions, that is problem solving sessions on the topics. We had started with the initial sessions. Hope that was helpful and that also helped you to come and cover up the subsequent portion of the chapter. Hope the topics on ITC, registrations, returns, all of that you have understood it thoroughly. And that's the reason I'm here now to take you through topics of whatever subject. So whatever I have covered was the first half, and whatever my colleague, other faculty had covered was the second half. So you are thorough with the whole subject, and you are in a better position to understand these questions. That's the reason this problem solving session has been conducted now. So many people, good to see you back. Good evening, Miss Neha Gopal. Known names: Sai Kumar, Somesh, Raghavan, Sushil Kumar, Sakshi Tiwari, Banda Reddy, Band Reddy, Pooja, Maiman, Rafiq Bhai, Miss Prisha, all of you, and many more people. Is video lagging, sir? Is there any problem with video is lagging? If my voice is not clear, please let me know. Today is a Sunday, so nobody is there at office. I can raise my voice and reach out to you. No problem with the voice. Is there any problem with video? Please check and tell me. Otherwise, we are all good to go. So today we will cover on good afternoon, Mr. K. Good evening. Good evening, Mr. Deepak Goel, Mr. Hitin Jain. Voice is breaking in between. Okay, if I turn around the questions, then it is breaking. Let me change the angle. Unfortunately, the background screen is not appearing because there is some problem with the system here. I can see the question and I can answer you. Hopefully, this is clear now. Okay. I can show you the questions and answers in this. कुछ प्रॉब्लम है क्या? Okay. मैं फिर से ट्राई करता हूँ लॉग इन करने के लिए. लॉग ऑफ करके लॉग इन करता हूँ. यस सर. Okay. Okay, so now I think the voice will be clear. I have changed the network. Internet connection is also fine. We can start with the questions. We'll start with the questions into various questions. Each is focusing on some topic. Okay, so that we can cover up the major topics, what is there, and we have comfortable time. We have 3 days for this: today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. So Sunday, Monday, and Wednesday. Okay, so we have sufficient time to cover a lot of questions. I have prepared close to 35 questions. If that is short, then I will prepare more. So based on today's, how much time it takes, on that basis, we will evaluate, and if any additional questions needs to be added. In between, if you have any questions, please ask through. Before I start itself, if you have some prepared questions, if you want to answer that first, clarify your doubts, it could be in any topic, the topic which I have taken or which the other faculty is taken. Either of it is fine. So we can cover up all the questions and then start with the problems. Or in between also, if you want to ask, you could ask it. And we have time for tomorrow also. So tomorrow also you can ask. If you can make a note of the questions, specific questions, and what is your questions. If you have reference to what I would suggest is go through the study materials. In the study materials, when you go through, you have specific questions. Mark that page. From that page, tell me the page number so that it will give me a direct reference to which page I should go. From there, we can start off. Okay. So I feel that there is no questions coming up as such. So we can start with the problem solving itself based on the what all problems I have. Is this question based on RTP MTP? No, these questions are not based on RTP MTP. Few might be taken from RTP, but these are all questions covered from various sources. Few are prepared by me, few are taken from some sources, so that I can give you a understanding of the topic, understanding of the subject. So when we have studied theory, we may not have emphasized on few things. That's the reason now we will emphasize on minute things, so that whatever we have read in theory, we will apply that. So application is very important. That's the reason this session is there. Clear? So read this question. Mr. Sorabji. Okay, we'll start with first question. Mrs. Sorabji, a registered supplier, supplies the following goods and services for construction of buildings and complexes. Okay, now he's a registered supplier who supplies the following goods and services for construction of buildings and complexes. Execute excavators for required period at a per hour rate. Okay, he supplies what? He supplies excavators. What are excavators? When we go to a mall, we have the steps which go automatically, right? So those are excavators. Excavators for required period at a per hour rate. So what we see in malls are fixed excavators. Now this person is supplying excavators on a per hour basis, which means that these are movable excavators. Okay. Then he supplies manpower for operation of the excavators at the per day rate. Then soil testing and seismic evaluation at a per sample rate. So what he supplies and on what unit of measurement he supplies also given in the question. Excavators he supplies on a per hour rate basis. So here, when we see these excavators are different from what we are generally seeing. Excavators could be other things also, which are like lifts also. So if some materials has to be moved from a place from a ground floor to a 10th floor, you will have industrial excavators. Okay, which is like temporary structures which are there, which move the raw materials from the basement, from the ground to the required floor. So those excavators are given. Then he supplies the manpower for operation of the excavators. See, these excavators cannot be operated by any person. So you need a specialized technician. So that manpower is also supplied by Mrs. Sorabji. Then soil testing and seismic evaluation at a per sample rate. What he does soil testing, whether the soil has the requisite requirements. He will test the soil and do seismic evaluation at a per sample rate basis. Okay. The excavators, this is very important. This part, the excavators are invariably hired out along with operators. Okay. So when he gives the excavators, the people don't know, so they invariably take the excavators and they take the supply hire out along with the operators. So along with the excavators, manpower is also taken. Correct. So what does it mean? Similarly, excavator operators are supplies only when the excavator is hired out. So it's not possible in his business that you take excavator from somewhere else and he provides the manpower. No, that is not possible. Both excavator and manpower go hand in hand. So Raghavan, you have bang on it. Yes. So what it means that excavators and manpower is a composite supply. Yes, Ms. Rekha, you are also right. Excavators and manpower is a composite supply in this case. So we get to know here itself, it's a composite supply. Fine. Now move ahead. Mrs. Saurabhji receives the following services. He receives this, he supplies, and this he receives MC contract. Then he receives health insurance for operators of the excavators. Then he received scientific and technical consultancy for soil testing and seismic evaluation. Okay, for a given month, the receipts exclusive of GST are as follows. Receipts means what? This is what he has supplied and he has got the receipts. Okay, this is his outward supply. Higher charges for excavators is 20 lakhs 25,000. Mind you, these are all exclusive of GST. You have to be careful whether it is exclusive of GST or inclusive of GST. If it is given exclusive of GST, you have to take this value and add the GST and consider the GST rate on this so that the GST, what is the GST tax payable, you will get to know. This is if it is inclusive of GST, then what do? You have to gross up. Okay, we have learned what is gross up that we'll have to apply when if it is mentioned as inclusive of GST. So there could be three scenarios. One, it is exclusive of GST. You know that on that you have to apply the GST rate. It could be inclusive of GST, which means you have to gross it up. How to gross up? I will teach you once we have an inclusive question. Then there could be no mention of anything, whether it's exclusive or inclusive. Then what do you assume? If nothing is mentioned, then it is always assumed that it is exclusive of GST. Why? Because when I go to somewhere and I enter to a transaction, when I agree that the value of the transaction, if I buy some goods, if I want to take some services, I will agree at the principal rate. Say I agree to take a services of an engineer. He will tell, for my services, I'll charge you 1 lakh. So it is always assumed that 1 lakh plus GST he will charge, right? So when there is no mention of any reference, then it is always exclusive of GST. Clear? So he is here, it is clearly mentioned it is exclusive of GST. Higher charges for excavators. Then service charge for supply of manpower for operation of the excavators is 22,500. And service charge for soil testing seismic evaluation is 2 lakh. This input services is annual maintenance charges 1,12,500. Health insurance for excavator operators 12,375. And scientific and technical consultancy for oil testing and seismic evaluation is 1,12,500. Compute the net GST payable by Mrs. Saurabhji for the given month. Assume the rate of GST is as under. Okay, it's not there in your syllabus, so they will give you the rate also. Okay, now hiring out of the excavators is 12%. Okay, hiring out of the excavators. Supply of manpower services, that is one other supply, and soil testing and seismic evaluation services, done this rate is 18%. Okay, so the rate of GST is also given, and opening balance of input tax credit of GST is nil. Okay. So rate will be the rate of that of principal supply. Okay. So in this case, you have the question here, you have the background over here, and you have the numbers here. This will be relevant for you. Work out the answer and tell me what is your answer. Okay, so let us solve this together. The objective of this is problem solving is to solve the problems together. So let us solve the problem together. So Here is the question on the left side, and here is the answer. Okay. How do you present the answer? That is very, very important. Please listen to me. Answering the thing with getting the full marks is an important thing in the CA syllabus, specifically in these type of practical questions, because your final answer may be correct, but your steps may be wrong, or your final answer may be wrong, but your steps may be correct, but still for the steps you get mark. Okay, like how Miss our other BOS faculty was explaining you how to solve the answers. So please assume anything that okay, the examiner will know that if I'm not writing anything, I am the rate is 0, so I will not write it. You have to write what is the value, and you have to mention specifically it is out of GST. That's why the rate is 0, or you have to mention that the rate for this commodity is 0%. That's the reason the ultimate GST payable is 0. So you have to mention each and everything. You cannot simply consider that since you know everything, the other examiner also knows. No, you have to write the steps properly. Okay, so start your answer for question number 1. Mrs. Saurabh, what we have to compute? We have to compute the gross GST liability. We'll start with various headings. Just plan in your mind that if such type of question is there, what will be the various tables I have to mention. First is particulars, then what is the value received, right? And what is the rate of GST, and what is the GST payable, right? So here we go. Mr. Saurabh, computation of gross GST liability. Particulars, we know that he's doing higher charges of excavators, right? Then he's doing service charge for supply of manpower. This is the second category. And third is service charges for soil test, the value received. We know what is the value received given here, 20,25,000 for hiring of excavators, right? Okay, I have to keep doing this. Okay, so higher charges for excavators is 20,25,000, which is given here. On that, what is the rate of GST? The rate of GST is given here. Hiring charges excavators 12%, correct? Then what will be the GST payable? GST payable would be 2,43,000, which is 20,25,000 into 12%, right? So 20,25,000 into 12% makes it 2,43,000. Next is service charge for manpower. Service charge of manpower. What is the value? The value is 12,375. Sorry, here it is. Service charge for manpower for the excavators. $22,500. So 22,500. On that, what is the rate of GST? Here we have two rates, right? Now we are doing the service charge for manpower. So what should be the rate then? We have discussed that hiring charges and service charge of for manpower. This they have clearly mentioned that service for manpower and higher charges are supply. What should be the rate for service charge for the manpower? Come on, let's make this participative. Band Reddy, Khushi Kankari, Mohammad Tawfiq, Sneha Sharma, and Hitesh Jain. Everybody is saying 12%. Now nobody is saying 18%. Is it so? Is anyone saying that it should be 18% since the rate is why so? Akash Neel, Sneha Garg, Rekha, you're saying it should be 12%. So Miss Pooja please note that even though the individual GST rate for the rate should be the rate of the composite supply. So we know that the rate in case of a composite supply has to be applied the rate what is of that part of that goods or services, which is the principal supply. In this case, what is the principal supply? Hiring is the principal supply, not because of the value, by the nature of the thing. When you hire something, then you get a manpower, otherwise you don't get the manpower, which means that hiring of the excavators is the principal supply. So for any ancillary supply, in case of a composite supply, the rate what is applicable to the principal supply will apply here. Okay. So the service charge for manpower is 12%. GST payable on that is 22,500 into 12%. Sir, are you going to upload the PPT along with the Excel sheet? I'm going to upload only the question and answers, only the Word document and the Excel sheet with the fill. Yes, it is composite supply. Rate is as that of the principal supply. Clear, Pooja? You understood this now? So you're saying that rate is that of the principal supply, and the principal supply here is hiring of excavators. So the rate will be 12%. Right? Next. So we are clear with this. This was a major thing. Now soil testing and seismic evaluation. What is the rate here? 81,250. On that, what is the GST rate? So this is not a composite supply or a mixed supply. This is an independent supply. On that, the rate is given as 18%. So we will consider 18% on that. The GST payable would be 2,81,250 into 18%, which is 50,625. Clear? So 50,625 is the rate on GST payable is total of all of this, right? Which is 2,43,000 plus 2,700 plus 50,625 makes it as 2,96,325. Even though if I upload these Excel sheets, just don't rely on it. If you could work out along with me, that will be really helpful for you. Don't just wait that Excel sheets will come to you or you're not going to get it. So the problem solving session is not for me to explain. It is for you to learn and write it down. So people who are waiting that this Excel sheets will get uploaded, don't wait for that. Please start writing the answers. Okay. So 296,325. Yes, Hitesh Jain, I can see that you're working along with me. Very good. So 296. 25 is the GST payable. Now this is the gross GST liability. What is our question? Tax credit. So we have calculated what is the gross GST liability. Now we have to calculate the input tax credit. Computation of input tax credit on annual. What are the services what he's get? The GST paid during the month on services received by Saurabhji is as follows. Okay. So is this on this what rate we have to take? Is there anything that come on, tell me. Now, annual rate, is it 1,12,500 into 12%? Great, Rekha. I can see you are also working with me. That's nice. So in case of input services, what will be the GST paid which we have to consider for annual maintenance of excavators? $13,500, which is 1,12,500 into 18%. No. How are people getting 13,500? Karthik Gupta and Hitesh Jain, tell me, how did you get 13,500? Oh, you have taken 1,12,500 into 12%. Somesh Karan, Bharat and Sushil Kumar, please see if network is fine now, because now the network is resolved. It's completely clear. Why are you still facing network problems? Please note that you shouldn't take 1,12,500 into the GST rate. What is the paragraph starts with? The G of service. This is the tax which has been paid. So in first part, they gave you the value. In the second part, they're giving you the tax amount. So value and tax is not the same. So don't consider 1,12,500 is the value. On that you will apply the GST rate. No, this is actually the GST paid itself. I will underline this. The GST paid during the settlement is there for you to claim the credit. The value is not given and not required. Since GST value is given, consider the GST value itself completely. Okay, so the annual maintenance of excavators on this GST paid is 1,12,500. Take full value. Don't take any percentage on that, because this is already the GST paid. Got it? Got it now, Karthik? It is GST paid, so we have to take the whole value. The amount is inclusive of GST or exclusive of GST, we don't know. But this is the GST value which we have to take. So GST paid is 1,12,500. On that, ITC available is full, because on excavators we get the full credit. We have read in the input tax credit chapter, right? That the credit is available. Next, health insurance of operators. That how much is the ITC available? Yes, Main and Rafiq Bhai, I can see your messages. So tell me, on the health insurance of operators, how much is the ITC available? Raghavan, you have already answered. You have already gone to net GST payable. That's nice. Yeah. So it's a block credit. On this, ITC available is 0. So no ITC available on health insurance of operators, and block credit. You would have read that on health insurance, GST is not available. So health insurance of operators, GST is paid, but ITC available will be 0. Then scientific and technical consultancy. Scientific and technical consultancy. How much is the GST paid? 1,12,500. Is ITC available on this or no? Yeah, assuming it is not obligatory under law, so ITC is blocked. Correct. So you have to write that assumption clearly. And below here itself, you could write it, or you could write as a note. Then it is available, because on what health insurance is available? Health insurance available if it is obligatory under law. Now you could write here that assume that it is not obligatory under any law. Okay. If it is obligatory under any law, say like Factories Act, it becomes obligatory. Then what health insurance we pay, that credit is available. Here we are assuming that it is not obligatory under any law. So that's the reason it is not available. Then scientific and technical consultancy, what will happen? Is it required to bifurcate on the CGST, SGST? Not required, because here they have only asked what is the net GST payable. If they would have asked what is the CGST payable, what is the SGST payable, then we will bifurcate it. Not otherwise, here in this case, not required. Okay, so scientific and technical consultancy, GST is available on this. So we will claim that also. Right? So we can claim full ITC on the scientific and technical consultancy. What is the total ITC? What we have? 1,12,500 plus 1,12,500, which is 2,25,000. Okay. So this is the total tax credit which is available. Then what is the net GST payable now? The net GST payable is the output. Output we know, and input tax is 2,25,000. So net GST payable is output minus input, which is 71,325. Raghavan, you had said 58,950. Please recheck your answer. So net ITC, net GST payable is 71,325. Great, Akash Neil, Karthik Gupta getting correct answers. Pan Reddy, you also got the correct answer. Any doubts in this question? Did you understand the concept of composite supply? So if a composite supply is there, then GST is not a problem. Clear. मजा आया है. Very good. कार्तिक गुप्ता. फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन में मजा आएगा तो और क्वेश्चंस भी आगे और भी मजा आएगा फिर. Very nice. We'll go to the question number 2. No doubts. Clear. चलिए क्वेश्चन नंबर 2 में चलते हैं. ITC ABC कंपनी लिमिटेड ऑफ बेंगलुरु. Yeah. ABC Company Limited of Bengaluru is a manufacturer and registered supplier of machines. It has provided the following details for the month of November 2020. Details of GST paid on inward supplies during the month is as follows. Now, he has incurred the following inward supplies on which what is the value is mentioned here. Insurance, health insurance of factory employees, 20,000. Raw materials for which invoice has been received and GST has also been paid for full amount, but only 50% of the material has been received. Remaining 50% will be received in the next month, on which GST is paid off 18,000, 12,000. Purchase of manufacturing machine directly sent to job workers premises under Challan. So he's purchased some machinery, but it is directly being sent to job workers premises. It has not come to his premises. What will be the scenario in that case? Purchase of car used by the director for business meetings only. Specifically for business meetings is using. On that input tax credit is on that GST paid is 25,000. Outdoor catering service availed for business meeting is 8,000. These are the facts given. Now, what is the question? Question ही भूल गया हूँ मैं. It has provided details of GST. Calculate the net ITC available. Okay, what is the net ITC claimable for the month of November 2020? Sushil Kumar, whether scientific and technical consultancy ITC available? Yes, it is available because it's not a credit. So, and I'm providing it is available. Now, you have solved this question in last session. That's nice. So there's a repetition of the same question. This question is repetition. Okay, good. Then second number question is a repetition, right? So we will quickly go through it then. Good that you have solved this question. Same question. What is this? You are lucky. You guys are lucky then that you got the same question. Okay. On one scale, okay, so you know everything over here. Let's quickly go through this. There's nothing much to explain in this question then because you have already solved this question. Insurance of factory employees, right? इसके ऊपर GST is being paid. How much is GST being paid? 20. No, ITC is not available. Then raw materials purchased on this ITC is available. What is the ITC paid? 18,000. Is ITC available? No, we cannot receive it because you have to receive the last lot. Okay. Then works contract services used for installation of plant, 12,000. On this credit is available. Yes. On works contract service for installation of plant, credit is available. Purchase of manufacturing machinery, on that GST is paid of 50,000. ITC available. Yes, on machine purchase, ITC is available. Purchase of car by director, on this is the credit is available. On this credit is not available. Why, sir? Because car is used only for business meetings. Can I claim? Whether you use for business meetings or personal meetings, on car is a block credit. मिल जाएगा ना? एग्जाम क्वेश्चंस पेपर में भी सेम आया है, तो ये ओके. So you're only practicing your cars used for director is blocked, outdoor catering is blocked, right? So आपको सब पता है. तो क्लियर. So everybody is clear with this answer of 62,000 की जो GST पेड है और ITC जो क्लेम होगा. वेरी गुड. आपका प्रेजेंटेशन यहाँ पे इंपॉर्टेंट है, और जो क्रेडिट नहीं क्लेम होगा उसको ब्लॉक कर दीजिए ताकि व्हाई इट इज नॉट अवेलेबल करके आपको एक्सप्लेनेशन मिल जाएगा. ग्रेट. लेट्स गो टू द थर्ड क्वेश्चन. अगर ये भी रिपीटिशन है तो बता दीजिए. क्वेश्चन नंबर 3 इज अगेन ऑन ITC. ABC लिमिटेड ऑफ बेंगलुरु इज अ मैन्युफैक्चरर एंड रजिस्टर्ड सप्लाई ऑफ मशीन. ठीक है. अभी इस क्वेश्चन में थोड़ा ट्विस्ट है, सेम क्वेश्चन नंबर 2 की तरह है, ताकि क्योंकि आपने बोल दिया कि क्वेश्चन नंबर 2 आपने कर लिया है, तो मेरे इंस्टिंक्ट ने कहा कि क्वेश्चन नंबर 3 को क्वेश्चन नंबर 2 की तरह करते हैं और थोड़ा डिफरेंट करते हैं. ठीक है. ओके. क्या डिफरेंट करते हैं इसमें? ए में अपीयर होता है या नहीं होता है, दैट आई हैव एडेड एडिशनल कॉलम. ठीक है. तो सेम क्वेश्चन है. एम्प्लॉइज हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस है, रॉ मटेरियल्स है, लेबर सर्विसेज है, फिर परचेज ऑफ सेम एस्पेक्ट्स है, और थोड़े कुछ एडिशनल आइटम्स है. ओके. और इसमें क्या है, मैंने लिखा है कि वेदर इट्स अपीयरिंग इन GSTR 2A और नो, क्योंकि आपको पता है ना नया रूल है, वेर if the GST is appearing in GSTR 2A, yes or no. Now solve this question. Correct, Pooja. So unless it is expressly given as insurance as part of requirement under the Factories Act, we assume that ITC is not available. Correct. After outdoor caterings, 3 lines I've added, and I've also added the criteria whether it is appearing in GSTR 2A or not. ओके. GSTR 2B है, बट आपके क्वेश्चन आपके सिलेबस के लिए GSTR 2A ही आना चाहिए, क्योंकि GSTR 2B का अभी का अमेंडमेंट है फ्रॉम जनवरी. So it is appearing in GSTR 2A or 2B, either of it should be fine with you. Okay, now let us solve this answer. Okay, health insurance, it is GST paid कितना है? GST paid है 20,000. ITC is available. No, ITC is not available. So whether it's appearing in GSTR 2A or not appearing, मुझे कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता क्योंकि वो ITC तो मुझे मिल ही नहीं रहा है. When I'm not look into, if here the ITC is not available, then I'll not look into whether it's appearing GSTR 2A or no. Okay, so 20,000 है, ITC available 0 है, claimable भी 0 हो जाएगा. Raw material purchased on this ITC is available, no, not available, so claimable is also 0. Then labor services used for installation of plant and machinery, 12,000 rupees. इसके ऊपर credit available है, हाँ available है. Whether it's appearing GSTR 2A, yes, it is appearing in GSTR 2A. So ITC available and claimable is also same because available भी है और claimable भी है. Then manufacturing machine purchase, 50,000 rupees, credit available, available. Is it appearing GSTR 2A? Yes, appearing. So it is claimable 50,000 rupees है, आपको मिल जाएगा. Purchase of car by director, purchasable, appearing GSTR 2A, appearing, but is it available? Not available, so not claimable. Fine. Then outdoor catering, 8,000 rupees. On 8,000 rupees, is the ITC available? It is not available. So claimable? No, not claimable. Raw material purchased and received in the month, 30,000 rupees. Is it available? Available. अभी GSTR 2 में appear हो रहा है? नहीं हो रहा है. So I have mentioned something as 4,600 that I'll come back to you in a short while. Why I have mentioned to 4,600. Then consumable purchases 30,000, ये अभी पेंडिंग रखते हैं. That why I have taken this 4,600, इसके लिए कुछ वजह है, I'll tell you. Then consumable purchase 30,000, on that is ITC available? Yes, it is available. Is it claimable? Yes, claimables are equivalent to raw materials, so on that credit is available. Then imports के ऊपर 50,000 rupees. Is it claimable? Yes, claimable. Not appearing in GSTR 2A. In import of raw materials, it is not appearing in GSTR 2A. Is it still claimable? Yes, it is still claimable. Because on import of goods and services, it may not appear in GSTR 2A. Still, you can claim it for imports. Be careful on that. On imports, you can claim it. So what is the total ITC? Available is 1,72,000. Claimable is 1,46,600. Now I had told that there is something which I have done here as 4,600 instead of 30,000. Mind you, on this raw materials, it is not appearing in my GST, which said earlier under Rule 36.4 that total eligible credit, what is appearing in GSTR 2A, then you have a 5% additional cap. Okay, which means that whatever is appearing in your GSTR 2A, on that you will get an additional cap and you'll get 5% extra for that. What is that which is appearing? What is available and what is claimable? On available and claimable, 50,000 is available and claimable, and 30,000 of consumable which was available and claimable. Total ITC is 92,000. On that, I could claim additional 5%. Now that provision is gone off, and Rule 36.4 from now onwards, it says that from 1st January 2022, Rule 36.4 is amended. Annual credit is how much? It is only what is available and claimable, which is how much? Which is 92,000 plus 50,000, which means 50,000 plus 12,000 plus 30,000 makes it as 92,000 plus imports 50,000. So this was available as 4,600 before 1st Jan 22. So if these, because if the purchase is for any month which is prior to January 2022, then your answer is 146,600. But if it is for any month after 1st January 2022, then it is not, this will become 0 and it'll be 1,42,000. So you have to write the answer based on the November 2020. You had this provision of 5%, right? So your answer will be 146,600. But if it is after January 22, then it will be 92,000 plus 50,000. Clear? Sorry, sir. ओके, ठीक है, मैं देखता हूँ. Okay, clear with this? So it is amended, right? Do we require to mention earlier provision? You require if the purchase is for any month prior to January 22, because this amendment came from January 2022, right? So you have to be careful which month they are given. If they are given for any month after January 2022, then that 5% capping will not apply. Whatever is appearing GSTR 2A, only that you will claim it. But if it is for any month prior to January 2022, then this 5% capping you'll have to note. Okay, so what point of my voice was not clear? Please tell me, I can explain that again. Did you understand this? Okay, so what I was trying to say is Rule 36.4 is amended from 1st January 2022, which says that whatever is appearing in your GSTR 2A, only that you can claim. So in that case, what I can claim, which one? This 12,000 plus 50,000 plus 30,000, which makes it as 92,000, and this 50,000. So I can claim 1,42,000 if I made a purchase after January 2022. But if it is prior to January 2022, then I get additional 5% capping. This additional 5% capping I will get only if the purchases for any month for which I'm claiming the input 21. If they give any question for those months, then this 5% will apply. But if it is from 1st January 22 onwards, then that 5% capping will not apply. Clear? To A or to B. So we have both provisions now. So effectively it is to B. So you consider as to B itself mistake. Huh? That's right. Okay. So everybody is clear with this. Sorry for the voice. As what is this rule 36.4? Clear? We'll go to the next question now. Question number 4, Star Limited. Okay, Star Limited is a registered supplier. Let me see if there are any more questions. 1 minute. Okay, clear. So question number 4, Star Limited is a registered supplier in Karnataka. Sir, you're giving too many questions on Bangalore or Karnataka. That is my state. So that's why all my questions are influenced by it. Don't worry. In your exams you will have all the states. Out of the states also they'll ask you question, but here just go with the facts of the case more than the state or the place. Okay. Star Limited, a registered supplier in Karnataka, has provided the following details for supply of one machine. So for one machine, what is the value and things like that is explained here. List price of the machine supplied, which is exclusive of items given in 2 to 4. So list price is 80,000 rupees. This also you might have supplied, machine supplied is 80,000 rupees. Tax levied by local authority on sale of such machine is 6,000 rupees. Okay. Then discount of 2% of the list price of the machine was provided, recorded in the invoice of the machine. So 80,000 is the list price. Then tax levied is 6,000. What is this tax levied? Tax levied by local authority for sale of machine. They're charging 6,000 rupees. Then 2% discount is given on the list price. Then packing expenses for safe transportation, which is charged separately in the invoice, is 4,000 rupees. Right. So this is the description of one machine. Star Limited received rupees 5,000 as subsidy from an NGO on sale of each such machine. Okay, for each machine they get a subsidy of 5,000 rupees from the NGO. The price of rupees subsidy. Okay, during the month of February 2020, Star Limited supplied 3 machines to intrastate customers and 1 machine to interstate customer. Supply Star Limited purchase, which is their inputs. Star Limited purchased inputs for supplying the above 4 machines during the month. The balance of ITC at the beginning of February 20 was this much. The rate of CGST, SGST and IGST is to be 9%, 9% and 18% for both inward and outward supplies. All the amounts given are exclusive of GST. All the conditions for availing for ITC has been fulfilled. Compute the minimum net GST payable. Okay. Now calculate, what should we calculate? Compute the minimum net GST payable. This is very interesting question. So how do we answer this? Here is a question and here is the steps for the answers. List price is okay. So the list price of the machine is 80,000 rupees. This is given here. 80,000 rupees is the list price. Now tax levied by local authority. Should we add this or no? Should we add it to the list price or no? We should add subsidy because eligible subsidy is given, which is given by central government and state government. Right? You're right, Ms. Rekha. But what about the tax levied by local authority? So we'll go step by step, right? So list price is given, then we'll go this. You always have to go step by step because you'll be pressurized in your exam and you may forget some things to be mentioning. So please go as per the flow of the question. Okay. So list price is this one. Tax levied by local authority. We know that this has to be added. Why this should be added? Because any taxes levied other than CGST will be added. Then discount will give at the end to keep discount, park this discount. Then packing expenses, should we add packing expenses? Yes, packing expenses should be added. So we'll add the packing expenses. Then the subsidy given is 5,000. So 5,000 should be added. Correct. It should be added. But they have mentioned that it is received as a subsidy from a state government, then it should not be added. But given by anybody else, it should be added. It's given by NGO, it should be added. The price of 80,000 rupees of the machine is after considering such subsidy, which means my price was more and I've made the price after the subsidy, which means I've not added, I've reduced the subsidy, right? Because I'm getting a subsidy from an NGO, would have been 85,000. That's the reason I have to add this subsidy. Fine. So I will add this subsidy from the NGO of 5,000 rupees. So don't don't get confused that the price of 20,000 is after considering such subsidy. So I should not add. No, you should add it because this 5,000 is a considered in this 80,000, which means they have read. So the total subsidy, total value is 95,000 rupees. Now I have to reduce discount of 2%. Now this 2% I have to discount, which means 95,000 into 2%, correct? No, don't go with the flow of our normal calculation. Generally in the invoice, we'll reduce 2% of the total value, but list price of the machinery was provided, not on the other components, on the list price. The list price is 80,000. So your discount is 2% of not 95,000, 2% of 80,000. So 80,000 into 2% makes it as 1,600. So this is your discount. Okay. So the value of taxable supply for each machinery is 93,400. Clear? So the value of taxable supply is 93,400. Now sale of machineries. ITC best, what is the least GST which he should pay? So for that we have to calculate what is the tax payable. He has sold, how many he has sold? He has supplied 3 machines to intra-state customers. Intra-state means within the states. So 93,400 into 3 machineries into 9%. Watch. 93,400 into 3 machines into 9%. It makes it as 25,218. So 25,218 CGST, 25,218 SGST, IGST will become 0. Intrastate. Then how many interstate machines he sold 1 machine interest, 18%. CGST will be 0, SGST will be 0, IGST will be 93,400 into 18% makes it as 16,812. Clear? So how much is your output tax? 25,218 CGST, SGST and 16,812 IGST. Here we calculate. No, we have to add back because that is the value on which you have to pay GST. That's the reason you add it. Okay, so 80,000 plus the value of the subsidy has to be added to get the transaction value of a taxable supply. So in the transaction value I've discussed, right, what is to be added. So any subsidies received has to be added to the transaction value. That's the reason we are adding it here. Clear? So this is your CGST, SGST payable. Now ITC, how much is the ITC available? Okay, to know that, let's compute first what is the ITC. So let's prepare a separate note so that we don't get confused. So whenever you work out on your problems, please note that give a lot of sufficient space on the right hand side, sufficient space in between. So you don't know how much lines you will have to leave it. So leave sufficient space, then do a working note in the next page. So that extra space left is fine. You can strike off if some extra space is left, but do all your workings in the next page and call it as reference working notes. So first working note will be computation of ITC. So first I've given you the opening balance. SGST 4,000 and IGST 26,000. Is this possible? Can CGST and SGST opening balance be different? Is it really possible? Because CGST and SGST rate is same, no? How can the balance be different? It should be same. Can it be possible that CGST opening balance is 18,000 and SGST is 4,000? Is it possible? How is it possible, if it is possible? Not possible. If you are saying possible, balance can be different because IGST, we know that if there's any IGST payable, you can utilize from CGST, right? Or SGST, you can utilize in any proportion. Or if there's any CGST payable and SGST also payable, but you might have some SGST balance and CGST have utilized for IGST. It is not always necessary that CGST and SGST balance has to be same. Okay, it is not always necessary that CGST and SGST balance should be same. It can be different. Okay, so correct. All of you, what your answers you're giving is correct. Yes, so if earlier IGST, ITC is applied, not in equal proportion, GST ITC would have been utilized for IGST liability of previous month. Yes, all those permutations and combinations are possible. So your CGST and SGST balance need not be same. So here they've given the opening balance of CGST, SGST, and IGST. Okay. Now, what is the inputs received during the month? They've given that he's made a purchase intra-state for 1,20,000 rupees exclusive of GST for supplying the above machines necessary for availing ITC has been fulfilled, which means it is appearing in GST at 2B and everything is checked, and then you can claim it. So on 1,20,000 is exclusive of GST and this is an intrastate. So what you will claim 1,20,000 into 9%, which is 1,08,000, 10,800 of CGST and 10,800 of SGST. How much is your total ITC available? Opening plus your current inputs. Fine. So this is your ITC which is available. Now, how will you utilize your IGST, GST? First is IGST has to be paid. IGST should be paid from balance of IGST. So 16,812 say I will utilize the ITC fully because I have more ITC. Fine. So from 16,812. Here it is. 16,812 ITC I've utilized from the IGST. First IGST I will utilize completely. That is the best thing to do. Now next to pay CGST and SGST. Now I have more balance of CGST than SGST. So ITC set of CGST I will do first. 25,208. I will utilize this CGST balance. Okay, so that the net payable is 0. And here also it's 0. Now ITC set off of CGST in SGST is not possible. So I will set off the SGST with SGST first. How much is that? 14,800 I will utilize fully. Then balance whatever is IGST I will utilize. fine. I will utilize this completely so that out of 25,218, full CGST has been utilized, full IGST has been utilized. How much I can do? 26,000 out of 26,608, 16,812 is gone off. Balance 9,188. And first I have to do this, not this step. So this is the first step here because IGST has been fully utilized. Then only CGST can be utilized. So IGST I have utilized completely here. Then I have utilized the SGST. So how much is the balance tax payable? 1,230. What is the question? What is the minimum net GST payable? So minimum net GST payable is 1,230. They can have various combinations, but if you go with combination and see whether the minimum GST is payable. Clear? Sir, if we use IGST ITC to claim ITC of CGST, then CGST ITC may remain unutilized, but in such case, SGST ITC will get used. So it can be used more. Use IGST ITC to claim ITC of CGST, then CGST ITC may remain unutilized. Now, first you have to utilize IGST, then only CGST. Okay, so you utilize the IGST, then you utilize the CGST. 12,248 cash liability. No, 12,000, 19,200. Please let me know if this ITC utilization is correct, because this ITC utilization is very important for you to understand how to utilize the input tax credit. So if you utilize in a maximum optimum manner, then you will pay less taxes. That is the objective. Clear with this? Clear. Rekha, good. You're clear with this question? Others, what about others? Are you clear with this working? IGST utilization for CNS should be in best possible combination. Correct. Yes. Yes, Somesh. Sure. Then proper utilization of ITC, so we'll clear with this. Okay. Question number 5. Okay, name and Rafiq Bhai is clear. Very less participation than what was there in the beginning. Be participative in this so that whatever you missed or you didn't understand in your theory classes, you will be able to understand it here. So please work along with me again. See if you are able to understand step by step, because if you are confident with this, then any complicated questions you will be able to answer. Still video is lagging. I don't know, because I'm seeing that network is unstable. Those signals are coming in. Let me try something during the break and try to change it. If still it doesn't work, then we'll do for 5. We'll take a break. That time I'll see if I can reset my internet settings. You go to question number 5 now. Question number 5 is Arihant Residents Welfare Association, which is registered under GST, it is registered under GST. Clear. The first thing is it is registered under GST. If it is not registered under GST, we will first check whether the collections crosses the limit of 20 lakhs. Because for supply of services, we have to see whether that limit is touching. If it is not touching, then we will not go into GST payable. Okay, so it is registered under GST. So even if the collections are below 20 lakhs, it has to still pay. Then the threshold not have clearly given that it registered under GST, and it has 45 members each paying monthly maintenance of 8,000 rupees. Monthly maintenance of 8,000 into 45 members into 20. Okay, so it is only 45 members into 8,000. Makes it as 3,60,000 into 12 months is 43,20,000. So, but they are already registered, no problem. So, was each paying monthly maintenance of 8,000. The association purchased a pump set for 60,000 rupees and availed property management services for 59,000 rupees, inclusive of GST, for use of its members for the month of January 2021. Compute the GST payable for January 2021 by the association. All transactions are in. Okay. Very simple question. First of all, is GST payable or no? What is the limit? What is the limit for residential welfare association or a club or association? What is the limit? And if that limit has to be considered as differential, or if the limit crosses, then GST is payable on the whole value. Correct. 7,500 is the limit. And if it is more than the 7,500 limit, your limit is the amount collected is 8,000. So GST has to be paid on what? On 8,000 minus 7,500 rupees. So only on 500 GST has to be paid. Is that correct? Correct. Everybody is giving the limit as correct. 7,500. Good. So we have to pay GST on 500 rupees only. Is that right? Mm. So good. So if above 7,500, then GST has to be paid on the full value and not on the differential of 500. Correct. So maintenance charges received is 8,000 into 45 members, which is 3,60,000 rupees. Correct. Okay, so on 3,60,000 rupees for 8,000 into 45 numbers, what is the GST rate on 3,60,000? It is 18%. Rate nahi diya hai, so GST rate you know is on services it is 18%. Pooja, I did not get the answer of 7,500, sir. 7,500 is the limit. Okay, if the limit crosses GST on the whole value. So if you are collecting say 7,000 rupees, तो आपको GST pay करने की जरूरत नहीं है. If it is above 7,500, then on the whole value GST has to be paid. Clear, Miss Pooja? So in this case, it is 8,000. 8,000 into 45 members. On that, 18% is the CGST and SGST payable. Then GST payable. GST is 500 and it is assumed as excluded in the collection because the maintenance is 8,000 rupees. Now we are assuming it is excluding, but you can assume it is including and you can gross it up. Fine. ITC on pump set. पंप सेट क्या लिया था, इधर लिया था 60,000 which is excluding GST, right? So on 60,000, 18%, which is how much? 60,000 into 18%, 10,800 on property management services. Property management services, 59,000 is inclusive of GST, which is of 9,000 rupees. So we will consider 9,000 rupees here. Fine. So on property management services, on pump set, it is 10,000 is your net GST payable, output minus input, which makes it as 45,000. So 45,000 is the GST payable. Clear on this? Very simple question, but tricky one. If it is crossing the limit, you have to be careful. That's the only thing in this question. Clear. Okay, so we'll take a break of 10 minutes and we'll come back at 7:30. So break for 10 minutes. In the meantime, if you have any questions related to these questions or any other topic, you could put it on the question slide. We will come back and do it. How did you get the rate of GST on pump set? A rate is not given, but generally it is assumed that if no rate is given, then you will consider the normal rate of 18%. That's the reason I've considered as 18%. Yes, Ms. Rekha, if greater than 7,000, then whole 8,000 GST is take of 10 minutes. Sir, break at 10 minutes. Huh? Okay, thank you. So we'll go to next question. Question number 6. These are all theoretical questions, but which are important for you to understand the concepts. Mr. A is running a consulting firm, and he is also having a ready-made garment showroom, which are registered under the same PAN. So he's having two business and registered under the same PAN. Turnover of the showroom, that is a ready-made garment showroom, is 102 lakhs, and receipt of consultancy firm is 24 lakhs. Now, whether Mr. A is eligible for composition scheme, whether there is any difference if Mr. A wants to opt for composition only for showroom. This is the question. So Mr. A is having two businesses. One is ready-made garments and he's having consultancy firm. The turnover of ready-made garments is 102 lakhs and consultancy firm is 24 lakhs. So total put together is 126 lakhs. What is the limit for composition we have? We have the limit for composition as 150 lakhs, which is 1.5 crores. Now his turnover is below 1.5 crores. So can you say that he is eligible to our composition scheme? First of all, whether he is eligible for composition scheme. Come on, need your answers here. Yes, 150 lakhs is the limit. Correct, Mayan Rafiq Bhai. तो फिर आगे is pump set is a good, so why GST rate is taken? It's a goods, so general rate for goods also has to be taken as 18%. So there is a Ms. Pureka, there is a classification under the rate schedule wherein it says if there is no specific rate for any goods, then it has to be 18%. So that's the reason I've taken 18% rate. But generally in the question, they will give you the rate for pump set. Somesh Karat is eligible as the turnover of the previous financial year is 150 lakhs, 75 lakhs in case of 8 special states, and also not able to opt only for one and not for another. So he's eligible. He's eligible. Yes, everybody is saying it is eligible. For good is 1.5 crores, and for services other than restaurants 50, whichever. So he's eligible. Okay. So read the question again. Then you tell me the answer. Mr. A is running a consulting firm. Consulting firm, will he do goods or will he do services? Consulting firm, he will do services. So everybody is saying yes, but he is doing a consultancy firm. In consultancy firm, he will not be doing any business of goods. He'll be doing business of services, and ready-made garment he'll be doing for goods. So composition scheme, you are not eligible for a category of business which is providing goods and services. Okay, so your answer is no. In this case, he cannot claim for composition scheme. Why so? The reason is given here. Okay, aggregate turnover includes all supplies made by all the persons registered under the single PAN. Here he is having single PAN. Exempt supply is included in the definition of aggregate turnover, and non-taxable supply is included in the definition of exempt supply. Hence, non-taxable supply is also included, right? So we know this in aggregate turnover, all kinds of supply has to be added. Service providers are not eligible for composition scheme. If they are eligible under a special category under special 10(2)(a). Right here, he's doing both goods and services, and he's providing services in consultancy firm. Hence, he is not eligible for composition scheme. You have just seen that turnover is below 1.5 crores, so he is eligible. No, he is not eligible because service providers are not eligible for composition scheme. Okay. If a business is ineligible to opt for composition, then all of the business registered on the same PAN shall automatically be ineligible for the composition scheme. So Mr. A is not eligible for composition scheme, only for showroom also. Clear? He's doing trading of goods and he's doing consultancy services. He can opt for a composition scheme for trading services and regular under consultancy services. Is it possible? No. Once one entity is registered under composition scheme, all the businesses has to be registered under composition scheme itself. So he cannot include this services because services are not eligible for composition. And even if it is allowed, that is only to an extent of marginal of 5 lakhs or 5%, whichever is higher. In that case, here that limit also he'll not touch, he'll cross that limit. So he is not eligible for composition. And the second question given is if he wants to opt only for showroom and he wants to opt for regular registration for the consultancy firm, is it possible? No, that is also not possible. So in this case, he is not eligible for composition scheme. Okay. So everybody missed the service part. Read the question carefully because you will have limited time to read the question in the exams. Read it thoroughly because the question will look small, but no question is simple in a CA curriculum. So it is always complicated. Read it fastly once, read it slowly second time, then you answer it. Okay, but over a period of time, when you practice, you'll know what words you have to catch. So keep practicing a lot of questions. Okay. It doesn't fall under marginal supply also. It will not fall, sir, because 5% of 102 lakhs is hardly how much? 5 lakh rupees, but he's having a turnover of 24 lakh rupees. So he will not fall under that marginal scheme also. Okay. Then second question, if instead of consultancy agency, Mr. A is running a restaurant, then whether he is eligible for composition? Question number 2, B part. B part says that what if he is doing restaurant services? Restaurant service is the only service which is eligible for composition. Then in that case, he is eligible for composition scheme because 10.1 and 10.2a, there are two things, right? 10.1 says that if you are providing trader, manufacturer or a restaurant service provider, then you are eligible for composition. So if he is a restaurant service provider and a manufacturer or the showroom business, then he is eligible for composition. Then the C part is if the turnover of garment showroom is 140 lakhs in the preceding financial year, and then there is no consultancy firm, he's only doing showroom business, then whether he is eligible for composition. Ms. Pooja, composition scheme registration is as per GST registration or PAN number, sir. I mean, a person can take GST registration for consultancy and composition for garments, sir? No, madam, not possible. Once composition is PAN based, under one PAN, if you have multiple registrations, all the registrations you will have to register either fully under composition or fully under regular. One under composition, one under regular, not possible. Okay, that is made clear when we had taught on composition. So rebrush now and say that on fully it should be composition. If he has 10 units, 10 registrations within the same PAN, all the 10 entities should be registered under composition or it should be registered under regular scheme. Clear? So for C, the answer is yes, he is eligible. Yes, very simple. So for C, he is eligible for composition scheme because he is doing only turnover of goods, no services, and which is below 150 lakhs. So he is eligible. Okay. There was another question which I thought. So say he's doing composition. So we have two types of composition, right? One is composition for goods, one is composition for services. So in the first question, I'll come back again. We had the option of composition for services. Say he opts for composition for services for his consultancy business, and he is ready to pay 6% for composition for services. No, the 10 to 8, you have that option of composition for services. So he'll tell, I'll go for composition for services and under 10 to A for the service what provide, and I'll register for composition for goods for the trading for the showroom business. Then is he eligible? No, still he's not eligible because 10 to A says that if you register for composition for services under 10 to A, then all other entities should be registered under composition for services. Even though both composition for goods and composition for services are both there under section 10, that doesn't mean that composition for goods means composition of services. Both are different. If you are registered for composition of goods, all registrations under the same PAN should be registered as composition for goods only. Or if you're registered under composition for services, then all units should be registered under composition of services only. Clear? You understood this point more than A, B, and C. This is very important. Can I offer composition for services under one location and composition of goods for other location? No, you cannot opt. This example, you're clear, no? This is a good example that a consultancy firm is there. So if I'm a chartered accountant, I'm doing only professional services. Can I opt for composition scheme for services? Yes, I can opt for composition scheme for services. There the limit is 50 lakhs, right? But in this case, it is more than 50 lakhs, so I cannot opt also. So if both are less than 50 lakhs, still I cannot offer composition for services and composition for goods under goods. That is still not possible because both are treated as separately. So it should be universal. It should be universal composition for all entities for services or composition for goods for all the registrations. Clear? This point, be clear. You may get some question here because composition for services is a new thing. Clear. Now, question number 7. Mr. A has obtained a registration of casual taxable person to make a display in exhibition. His turnover from the exhibition is 15 lakhs. Whether Mr. A is eligible for composition. अभी ये क्या कर रहा है? He's only a casual taxable person. He's doing some exhibition. Now whether he's eligible for composition. Karthik, your answer is correct. Others, tell me the answer for this. His turnover is below 15 lakhs. Whether it's goods or services doesn't matter. Even if he's doing services, the limit is 15 lakhs and he's doing only turnover of 15 lakhs itself. So can he opt for composition scheme here? Oh, good. Few people are giving correct answers, but some people are saying a wrong answer. He can opt, sir. CA में आपको कोई भी क्वेश्चन सिंपल नहीं रहेगा. अगर कुछ 15 लाख इतना आसान क्वेश्चन दे दिया, इसका मतलब कुछ तो ट्विस्ट है. इसमें क्या लिखा है? He is obtained a casual as a casual taxable person. Okay. Yes, Karthik, you can tell your doubt. No, sir. Yes, you cannot opt for it. That is the right answer because Mr. A is not eligible for composition as casual taxable person are specifically excluded from composition scheme. So, casual taxable person cannot opt for the composition scheme even if his turnover is less. क्योंकि वो दूसरे स्टेट में जाके रजिस्टर करता है, इसीलिए उसको वहां पे composition scheme का बेनिफिट नहीं मिलेगा. Good. Most of you have given a correct answer. Question number 8. Mr. A is registered in Rajasthan who is selling goods from Rajasthan to Gujarat. Turnover of Mr. A is rupees 73 lakhs in the preceding financial year. Whether Mr. A is eligible for composition. ये पहले बोलिए. ये क्वेश्चन को बाद में हटाएंगे हम लोग. First, to tell me whether he is eligible for composition. less than 1.5 crore. He is not a casual taxable person. He is a regular person. So can he opt for composition? Yes, sir. No, sir. Hitesh Jain again, yes, sir. Pooja is saying yes, sir. Question number 6, consultancy services eligible because turnover is less than 60 lakhs. Question number 6, मैडम नहीं है क्योंकि कंसल्टेंसी सर्विसेज है और ट्रेडिंग ऑफ गुड्स है, दोनों है, इसलिए नहीं मिलेगा. ठीक है, very good. So few people have identified this correctly. A composition person cannot make any interstate. That's the reason he's not eligible for composition. Okay, and the other part is whether your answer will change if Mr. May is making supply from Gujarat, making purchase from Gujarat and selling goods in Rajasthan. Will it change? First thing, yes, we are clear that he's not eligible for composition as making introvert straight outward supply. Second part, main answer disclose kar diya hai. A is making purchase from Gujarat, restriction on outward interstate supply, and there's no restriction on inward supply. So A, who's selling goods from Rajasthan to Gujarat. Okay. Now the question is, did your answer change if Mr. A is making purchase from Gujarat and selling goods in Rajasthan? वो राजस्थान में है, purchase गुजरात से कर रहा है. Will he be eligible? Yes, he is eligible. Correct? Because he is state, that is, there's no restriction, but he has to sell intrastate, which is doing intrastate sale, so fir he is eligible. Okay. Suppose he is already registered under composition scheme in one state. So the question is, suppose one person is registered under composition scheme in one state, say Maharashtra, and he wants to make display in Delhi exhibition. He also confirmed that he can't offer composition, so he will take registration under regular scheme. So is it possible that under the same PAN one can register as a composition and regular both? Because I found this too contrary. No, he cannot register. So he will have to take a casual taxable registration. So he will take a composition scheme registration there, and that other registration is a composite taxable CTP. Composition taxable person are different. So he'll take composition and he'll not take a regular registration take. He will take a registration as a casual taxable person, which is permitted. Okay. Rekha, only pure service eligible. Correct. Only pure service is eligible. Good. Rahul Kularia, your answer should also be wonderful. Together so that I'll bring out a lot of complications, so it will be fixed in your mind that this complication is there, this is not possible. Great. Inward is allowed for interstate supply. Very good. Next, question number 9. Mr. A is a non-registered taxable person in running a ready-made garment showroom in the Rajasthan. Turnover of the preceding financial year is 70 lakhs. Whether he is eligible for composition scheme. इसका आंसर तो तुरंत मिल जाना चाहिए. Good. Everybody is given the answer correctly. No more waitings. The answer is he's not eligible because a casual taxable person and a non-registered taxable person cannot opt for composition since he is a non-registered non-resident taxable person, NRTP. Okay. Mr. A is a dealer who is selling. इसका आंसर तो खुल गया इधर, बंद कर देते हैं इसको. Mr. A is a dealer who is selling goods which are leviable to GST, exempted goods and non-taxable goods. ये क्वेश्चन तो मैंने पहले ही MCQ में दे दिया, but let us test whether you remember that. His lakhs goods which are leviable to GST, exempted goods and non-taxable goods respectively, whether Mr. A is eligible for composition scheme. Rahul Kularia, very good feedback. You have taken one class from ICI and it really helped you. That's really good. I do remember vaguely. I've seen your name. Please keep the good work. I'm only trying my best to give you the explanation. If that has helped you in your exams, I'm really happy. Thank you very much. Karthik Gupta, which question are you referring to? Okay, so let us see answer for this. These are all questions which are very simple, but conceptually these are strong. Aggregate turnover includes all types of supplies made by all persons registered under single PAN. If a person is selling the goods which are not leviable to tax under GST, then he is not eligible to opt for composition scheme. इस केस में तो 150 है, 160 है, 150 lakhs. So he is making supply of goods which are not leviable to tax. So if he is making a supply of any goods which are not leviable to tax, then he cannot opt for composition. Even though if a person is selling goods which are not leviable to tax under GST, like petroleum products and those products, if he sells which are not leviable to tax, then he can opt for composition. In this case, he is supplying leviable to GST, exempt and non-taxable also. So that's why he cannot opt for composition scheme. Exempt goods are not leviable tax, that's fine, but non-taxable. So there is exemption is separate and non-taxable goods. So non-taxable goods is there, that's why he's not eligible. Question number 11. Mr. A is selling goods from through e-commerce, through an e-commerce operator. Turnover of the preceding financial year is 71 lakhs, whether he is eligible for composition scheme. Question number 10, not eligible, correct. Question number 11, if you are transacting through an e-commerce operator, no more waiting. Most of you would have got the answer correctly, but the video lag is happening. Mr. A is selling goods through e-commerce operator, hence he is not eligible for composition scheme. Now it is changed this year, but for your exams, he is not eligible. Okay. A person has two establishments, one in Uttarakhand and one in Rajasthan. Okay, Uttarakhand and Rajasthan. The turnover of Rajasthan is 60 lakhs and turnover of Uttarakhand is 30 lakhs. He wants to opt for composition scheme in Rajasthan. Can he do so? Which means he'll opt for composition in Rajasthan and Can he opt for question number 12? The person cannot do so. He has to opt for composition for both the locations. Very correct. Since aggregate turnover for the previous year on his PAN number was more than 75 lakhs, therefore he cannot opt for composition for Uttarakhand. Uttarakhand में 75 है, but उसका turnover is less than 75 in Uttarakhand. But in Rajasthan, his turnover is 60. So overall limit we have to see. Overall limit crosses 75 lakhs. So he cannot opt for composition scheme in Rajasthan. So what is the implication of that? If you have two states, then and one state is having a lower limit. We know that in Uttarakhand, the limit of for composition is 75 lakhs. Still, he cannot opt for composition in other state because that 75 lakh ultimately becomes that is the limit for all the other states. Okay, even though individually in Rajasthan and individually in Uttarakhand it is less than 75 lakhs, but put together it is crossing 75 lakhs. So he cannot opt for composition in both the states. Be careful. Clear on this composition scheme? We'll get into the normal problem solving from question number 13. This question I want you to check if this you have understood clearly. Question number 12. Okay. Question number 12. Sorry, screen share nahi ho raha tha. Question number 12 is a person has two establishments, one in Uttarakhand and Rajasthan. Uttarakhand में 30 lakhs है और Rajasthan में 60 lakhs है. Is he eligible for composition? Is not eligible for composition because the limit is crossing 75 lakhs both put together. Clear? Okay, clear. So question number 12, everybody is clear. उत्तराखंड एंड राजस्थान, तो एक स्टेट में अगर लेस देन 75 lakhs है and other state is 1.5 crores, but all the states put together, if the turnover crosses 75 lakhs, then you cannot opt for composition. Okay. Now question number 13. Mr. Kumar is a registered supplier of Chennai, has received the following amounts in respect of activities undertaken by him during the month ended on 30th September 2020. These are the amounts what he's received. Amount charged for service provided to recognized sports body as a selector of national team. Commission received as an insurance agent from insurance company. Amount charged as business correspondent for the services provided to urban branch of a nationalized bank with respect to small savings bank account. Service to foreign diplomatic mission located in India. Funeral services. These are the services what is provided. He received the services from unregistered goods transport agency for his business activities relating to serial number 2 and 3 above. And he is paid freight of rupees 45,000. His aggregate turnover of the previous year was 9,90,000. All the transactions stated above are intrastate transactions are also exclusive of GST. You are required to calculate the gross value of taxable supply on which GST is to be paid. मतलब सिर्फ value चाहिए. Don't get into the calculation of GST. Really enthusiastic that we have done so many sums where GST paid is calculated. So we'll calculate the GST paid. It is not required. What have they asked? They've just asked you required to calculate the gross value of taxable supply. Just calculate the value. Don't calculate the tax. So calculate the gross value of taxable supply on which GST is to be paid by Mr. Kumar for the month of September 20. Working notes should form part of your answer. Okay. So let's solve this question. Question number 13. Which we have already done, right? When we have done the exemption, we have done. So let's run this quickly. Because when we did the exemption chapter, we had time, so we had covered it there. But let us, for the benefit of people who have not attended that class, just answer this quickly. Amount charged as recognized body, okay? Is this eligible or for exemption? No, this is not eligible for exemption because as a selector is not eligible. As a coach, he can get the exemption, but national selection for national team, उनके लिए exemption नहीं मिलेगा. So this is taxable. Commission received as an insurance agent. This is not. So it is not gross value of taxable supply on which he has to pay GST. Then business correspondent to urban branch of a nationalized bank. The exemption is for a rural branch. For the urban branch, it will be taxable. Services to a foreign diplomatic mission located in India, there's no exemption. For any service he provides to foreign diplomatic mission is taxable. Funeral services are exempted. So on funeral service, tax is not there. Then supplies on which GST is payable. Supply is received from a GTA. Okay, why he's liable to RCM on a GTA? Because the question starts at he is a registered supplier. Since he is registered supplier, we know that under the categories of RCM, if he's registered under GST, he has to pay GST under RCM for GTA service. So since he is registered supplier, supplies on which GST is payable and reverse charge, only one service, which is 45,000. On that, he has to pay GST. So the value of taxable supplies on which GST is payable is all of these services, 50,000 plus 15,000 plus 28,000 plus 45,000. Okay, they've asked the value of taxable supplies on which GST is payable. Here will include the RCM also. Clear? ये तो हमने पहले ही कर चुके हैं. It's a revision. No doubts in this, right? Question number 14. Question number 14. Gentle Industries, a registered supplier of machinery, supplies a special purpose machine to Dharam Furnishers, for which it charges a price of 9 lakh rupees. Further, it charged the following additional amounts. So it supplied one machine, or one machine ka value tha 9 lakh rupees. Now it is providing the additional supplies. Okay, for which it is charging additional values, which is one of transit insurance of 16,500, packing charges of 13,500, then extra charges for designing the machine, which is 30,000, then freight charges of 18,000 rupees. What is the relevance of aggregate turnover? Okay, I'll come back to your question, Ms. Rekha. So these are the things what he's charging apart from the machine. Freight is transit insurance, packing charges, extra charges, and freight Following additional information is also available. Cash discount at 2% on price of the machinery has been allowed to Dharam Furnishers at the time of supply and also recorded in the invoice. GST rate is 18%. Calculate the value of supply of the special purpose machine. Very simple, right? Just calculate what is the value of the special purpose machine. Yeah, Rekha, your question on what is the relevance of aggregate turnover in question number 13. Aggregate turnover कहाँ दिया है, नहीं दिया हुआ है. So there's no relevance of aggregate turnover in this. His aggregate turnover in the previous year was 9,90,000. That is only to confuse you. Once he's registered, तो फिर RCM has to be paid. This is only to confuse you. ताकि आपको लगे कि his aggregate turnover is less than 10 lakhs, so you don't have to pay under RCM. That's the way it is confused. But once he's eligible for, once he's registered, then RCM is payable. Okay. Main and first question, first answer I get is 9,60,000. Second answer I get 9,28,000. Nine lakh 60, 9,28,000. Come on, that's the way I get to know that people are working. So only two people, two answers. One answer is 960, one is 928. Please work out simple questions like this and give me the values. Okay, few more answers. 960, 960. Very good. Okay. Mixed question. Most of you are giving answer of 9,60,000. Let's get into the answer. Question number 14. Okay, what is the value of the special purpose machine? So these are the values. First is price of the machine is 9 lakhs. Clear. फिर क्या करते हैं? Transit insurance को add करेंगे. Yes, we will add transit insurance. Packing charges will be add. Yes, we will add packing charges. Extra design charge. Yes, freight we will add. What is the total? Total is 9,78,000. Cash discount of 2%. 2% again. 9,78,000 के ऊपर मत लगाइए. 9 lakh के ऊपर 2%, which is 18,000, which the answer is 9,60,000. Very good. People who have given the correct answer: Khushi Kankari, Raghavan, Pooja, Rekha, and Menan Rafiq Bhai. Your answers are correct. So this is how you have to work out. Okay, value of supply. Some people have said 928. Please look into this, Mr. Akash Neel. Your answer is 9,60,000. Meman Rafiq Bhai, yes, this will be uploaded. Yes, so you can refer back and revise it during your exams. Okay. Cool. Simple question, simple answer. Question number 15. Single brothers registered in Uttarakhand had supplied 30 tons of a chemical at rupees 50,000. Okay. To Mr. P of Uttarakhand on September 2000 of whichever year. The invoice for the supply has also been issued on the same date. Further, following additional amounts were also charged from P. Okay. Apart from 50,000 tons, like how additional charges were there in the previous question, here also some additional charges is charged: freight, packing charges, weighment charges, cost of instruments specifically purchased by Single Brothers to manufacture the chemical. As per the terms of contract of the supply, Single Brothers is required to get the chemical inspected by independent testing agency before the delivery of the same to P. P had paid such inspection charges amounting to rupees 12,000 directly to the testing agency. Single Brothers has also received rupees 50 lakhs as a subsidy from the state government for setting up a chemical manufacturing plant in Uttarakhand. Okay. Now P is required to make payment within 50 days of the supply in terms of the contract. However, P delayed the payment of consideration and made payment in November. ठीक है, September का लिया था, October में pay करना था, but he made payment in November and thus paid 15,000 rupees as an interest. You are required to calculate the GST liability in this case and the due date of deposit. Okay, calculate two things. You are required to calculate the GST liability and the due date of deposit. Assume the rate of GST is 18%. Note, what is the note given? Single Brothers and P are not related and price is the sole consideration of the supply. Clear? So unrelated party, तो आपको कुछ भी pricing valuation वगैरह के लिए नहीं जाना है. That's the impact of that note. Now, this is the question. Few people might have solved this somewhere else, so you'll give me the answer faster. But work out this if you have not done it and go through the steps. आपको फॉर्मेट दे देते हैं कैसे करने के लिए. So at least it will be helpful to you. And we scroll down. Okay, question also. Good. Very few people are answering, but you're answering right on dot, doing the steps and showing it to me. That's nice. Question is not visible. Okay, let me populate the question again. So we shouldn't consider interest as only price is the sole consideration. Price is a sole consideration, but interest also has to be paid, right? Because he's delayed it. So interest will also be payable then. So interest is also consideration, but it has to be added. When it has to be added is the point. Because when you made the supply, you didn't know it. But later on, you're charging interest. So what will happen in that case? This is tricky. Very good. So now let us solve this tricky question together. So question, you're clear, right? I'll minimize this question because you know the facts or answers यहाँ पे project कर लेते हैं. First is value of the chemical. He's supplying 30 tons at 50,000 rupees per ton, right? So 30 tons at 50,000 rupees per ton is how much? 1,50,000 or 15 lakhs, sorry. 30 tons into 50,000 is 15 lakhs. Then what else is to be added? Simple things. Let's add freight has to be added. Packing charges added. Yes. Weight charges. Yes, to be added. Very clear. All of these are additional things which has to be collected from the recipient. Then cost of instruments specially purchased by single brothers to manufacture the chemical. So we have to add this because the specifically purchased for the manufacture of this chemical. So that has to be added. Then inspection charges. Who is paying inspection charges? Whether I am paying? No, I am not paying, but the receiver is paying. But anything which I have to pay on behalf of the receiver pays on my behalf, that has to be added. So in this case, inspection charges is paid by the receiver on my behalf. Okay. Where I am saying this, Single Brothers is required to get the chemical inspected by an independent inspecting agency before the delivery of the same to P. Okay, and P has paid such inspection charges. I have to do that, but the receiver has paid it, so I have to add that also. Inspection charges I will add. GST subsidy will I add? Subsidy add karna chahiye. Now he has received a subsidy of 50 lakhs from the state government for setting the plant. So subsidy which is linked to the price of the commodity has to be added, not a blanket subsidy. So this is an example of a blanket subsidy, which means I receive a subsidy for setting up a plant, not for setting up for reducing my price. If I'm reducing, say, on my transaction value, I have to charge less. And for that, if I'm getting subsidy, then I have to reduce. But in this case, that is not so. So I don't have to add it. Okay. So it's a blanket subsidy or a subsidy given to set up a plant, which I don't have to add it. Fine. So what is your transaction value? Your transaction value is sum of all this, which is 15 plus 180 plus 110 plus 20 plus 310 plus 12, which is 21,32,000. Okay. Now interest. This is the transaction value. Now he's made a delay. When did I supply to him? I made supply of 30th September and the due date for payment was 15 days, but he made payment in November and he's paying me 15,000 as interest. Now, when he's paying 15,000 as interest, is it excluding of GST or include of GST? He will pay 15,000 rupees as an interest. Now, you will also always have to consider gross up itself because on that 15,000, again, he will not pay you GST. He's paid you 15,000 in interest. You have to gross it up. How do you gross it up? The GST rate is 18% So 15,000 is inclusive of 18. So 15,000 divided by 118 into 100. This is called as grossing up. Please understand this grossing up. At various places you may comment, not only in GST, in any other subject also grossing up may come up. So gross up is the value divided by 100 plus the GST, the rate. If it is income tax, the income tax rate. If it is GST, then GST rate. So value divided by 100 plus the rate, which is 18 in this case, 100 plus 18 into 100 will give you the gross value. Okay. So this is the value which you get it. 15,000 divided by 118 into 100 gives it as 12,712 rupees. So the value of the supply in this case is transaction value plus interest, which makes it as 21,44,712. Fine. What is the GST payable on 21,32,000? It is 18%. And on interest, we know it is 18. That's why you have grossed it up at 18 on that 18%. So this is the GST which is payable. Now they have asked you what is the GST payable and when it is payable. Few people are saying 21,49,700. No, what is 21,49,700? Answer is 21,44,712. Okay, please be careful on the grossing up part also. So this is the GST payable. Question what is asked here is you are required to calculate the GST liability in this case and the due date of deposit. The GST liability we have calculated. Will it be payable on the same date? We know the time of supply. The time of supply is when I raise the invoice. When did I raise this invoice? This has been supplied on September. So September, I have to pay tax on this. Okay, fine. So I'll pay tax of 3,83,760. Due date for September is next month. So 20th October. So this is the tax and this is the due date. But November, I received the interest. We know that time of supply provisions, somebody had taught you, the person sitting in front of you who had taught you on the time of supply, saying that if any interest or late fees is coming in, you will pay GST not at the time of supply, but when you actually receive it. When did you actually receive it? You received this interest in November. So November you have to pay. The due date for November is December. So by 20th December you have to pay GST of 2,228. Assuming this is a monthly taxpayer. If it's a quarterly taxpayer, then you will accumulate quarterly. So you have to write this assumption that the taxpayer is assumed to be a monthly taxpayer. Okay, so the tax are two, but time of supply is different, not to be added together. For interest, you will pay when he is actually paid it. This he have said that he is actually paid it in November, right? Thus paid 15,000 as interest in November. So on this 15,000, when we gross up, right, 12,702 plus 2,288 makes it as 15,000. So tax of 2,288 will be paid for the due date of November, which is 20th December. Clear? How will you know when to gross up? You will know when to gross up. You will know when to gross up when the values is inclusive of GST. Okay, when the value is inclusive of GST, then you gross up. If the value is excluding of GST, then no problem. Whenever any value is given which is inclusive of GST. Now this interest in this case was 50,000 which was paid. Now they have not mentioned that additional amount is collected. So generally interest and any amount what is collected, you can make an assumption, but general assumption is 15,000 interest is paid is inclusive of GST. So we will gross it up. Clear? So we'll gross it up and charge the GST on the gross value. Clear? Sir, why exclude 18% amount? 18% we are excluding to find out what is 18% because we don't know on 15,000 how much is GST. So we'll exclude the 18%. So we'll get the value on that. We will apply 18% rate. Clear? 3,83,760 along with interest of 18% of gross liability. No, 3,83,760 is on the transaction value. On the transaction value, I will charge the GST. On the interest, what I've received, on that I will charge separate GST. So 3,83,760 is not along with interest, it is exclusive. So Amish, is your question answered? Yeah, very good. Okay, so when you might get a question which says the due date, be careful that when there are two separate transactions but related and the time of supply is different, then the due date will be different. Clear till now? Should we proceed further and take one more question? How is your feeling? Today is a Sunday, first day of problem solving. If you're really charged up, then we'll take one more question. Great. Great. Very few responses, but I'll take the response of few which are saying, yes, we can proceed with one more. We'll take one more question. A sample of few answers is a reflection for everybody. So we'll take up one more question. Question number 16. Rosary Private Limited, a registered supplier, is engaged in supplying taxable service leviable to GST at 18%. Okay. Compute the value of taxable supply and the GST payable by it in the month of July 2018 from the following information furnished. Generally, they will give the months which is relevant for your period. I've just tried to take previous years and previous dates, just that it's a changer. Otherwise, generally for your exams, they'll give you a date which is within your financial year itself. Advance received from clients for which no service has been rendered so far, 8 lakh rupees. Then demurrage charges recovered for use of services beyond the agreed period. Demurrage charges means extra charges what is collected. So some services has been used beyond the agreed period. So it is like penalty kind of thing. This is called as demurrage charges. So demurrage charges recovered for use of services beyond the agreed period. I'd given him some services. He said he will use for a particular period of time. Now he's used extra. For that, I'm collecting demurrage charges. Then security deposited forfeited for damages done by service receiver owing to his negligence in the course of receiving a service, not due to unforeseen conditions. For that, there is a security deposit which is forfeited. So I received some security deposit from a service receiver. His deposit, for which to what extent I'm forfeiting? 5 lakh rupees. Besides the above receipts, one of the clients, SBS Limited, made a payment of 1,45,000, out of which 25,000 was paid extra by mistake. However, Rosary Private Limited refused to return the excess payment received. Yeah, it will be in the first part itself. Compute the value of taxable supply and the GST payable in the month of July. Rate for everything is 18%. Value of taxable supply we have to find out, and we have to find what is the GST payable. Here, let's answer this. This, if I put it in a PPT, it will not be clear. That's the reason I'm using a scrolling between Word and Excel so that we can understand this more clearly. Advance received from clients for which no service has been received rendered so far. So advance has been received, right? For which no service I have rendered. Now, if I am a supplier of goods or I'm a supplier of services, we have to decide is engaged in supplying taxable service. It is mentioned that I am engaged in providing taxable service. So for a service provider, raising of invoice or receipt, whichever is earlier, is eligible. But if it's a supplier of goods, receipt of service is not there. He's engaged in supplying the taxable service, which means he's a service provider. So on 8 lakh rupees advance received, liable to GST, right? It's a taxable value. Then demurrage charges recovered for use of services beyond the agreed period. This is also liable to GST. Then security deposit forfeited. I had security deposit of 5 lakhs against his service what I provided. I will utilize it. So we had a provision. No, if security deposit is utilized by the supplier, then it becomes a taxable supply. So you might have given a deposit 5 years back, but now I'm forfeiting it. Now I'm offsetting it. So today, when I'm adjusting it against the services what I've rendered, then that will be a taxable supply today. Okay. Then payment received from 45,000 I've received, okay, out of which receipts, out of this 8 lakh receipts. In this 8 lakhs, they're saying they have received 1 lakh 45 from one person. Out of this 1 lakh 45,000, I've already included now, out of which 25,000, 1 minute. Besides the above receipts, not inclusive of the above receipts, besides the above receipts. Okay. Besides the above receipts, one of the clients has made a payment of 1,45,000, out of which 25,000 was paid extra by mistake. If he's paid extra by mistake, I have to return it. And why should I add in my taxable supply? Because taxable supply says that value of receipt or invoice, whichever is earlier. Now I've received it. You have already received out of 145, 25,000 you have received it. So it means 120 also, 25,000 also, it is there because it is on receipt basis. You have received it. So once you return it, that time you'll raise a debit note. So आपका value कम हो जाएगा. But today you have received it. The time of supply is triggered. Receipt of invoice, receipt of payment, or raising of invoice, whichever is earlier. So I've received it. So I have to pay GST on it. Fine. So I have to pay GST on that 25,000 also, right? So my value of supply is 15,34,000. Now, what is the value of taxable supply? If you see all of these instances, this clearly shows what, one by one I'll go. Advance received. Now, when I've received advance on, he's paid me advance. He will not pay me separately GST, which means 8 lakhs is inclusive of GST. Demurrage charges recovered. Now, demurrage charges which I have recovered, it is for which I will not raise a invoice. I will adjust it, saying that extra you have to pay me. Uske upar again GST will not come. Okay, so GST is not separately to be charged on that. It's a gross up. Then security deposit 5 lakhs hai, and I've adjusted with the invoice what I've raised. Which means on the 5 lakh security, I'm adjusting it for the invoice. So my invoice might be for whatever value, I'm adjusting it against that. So security deposit adjusted is treated as inclusive of GST. And then this payment received has made a payment of 1,45,000. So it means he's an advance, he's made payment of 1,45,000. So all these instances show that these are a gross up transaction, which means 4,000 divided by 118 into 100. Okay, that will be the value of taxable supply, and GST payable on that is 2,34,000. Okay, got it? So grossing up in all this instance and calculate the value of GST, then calculate the GST payable. Okay. Grossing up is an important point in this. Demurrage charges are inclusive of GST? Yes, demurrage charges are inclusive of GST. Like how we have advance, we have forfeiture, like that demurrage charges also will be inclusive of GST. Great. So we are done with 16. Few more questions. We'll do good progress in that also, and then we'll proceed further. Any doubts till now? This file is not uploaded. You want me to upload? Since we have 3 sessions within a small gap, I thought I'll take up all the questions and I'll upload it. Or if you want to upload this, I can still upload it. So that if you have any doubts, you can answer. So I will send it tomorrow, and I will request the technical team to upload it tomorrow itself. Yes, you need to revise the concepts more thoroughly. That's nice. Okay, thank you for coming on a Saturday night and taking up this. This was really good session. Yes, your concepts are more clear now. That is a very good thing. So we are really excited much. Good night. Conclude.